you fear that he will not hand over the presidency.
A guy who said, let's terminate the Constitution, consider martial law, and had a fake elector plot to steal an election, might he try to stay in power? Of course, he tried to do it once.
Cenk was on the right-wing podcast Trigonometry. They had a debate on Trump policy and whether or not he will try to stay in power after his term ends. Let's take a look at some highlights and discuss.
So you don't call Trump Hitler, and you don't call the Republicans Nazis. But when you say the word fascist, as you say, the meaning of that word has been eroded. That's where most people's minds is going to go, right?
So what do you guys tell me, what should I call his obvious dictatorial tendencies? And his obvious over-the-top racism?
You know what? Actually, this is a really great question, because what I'd love for you to do is, and this is a genuine question, I'm not trying to catch you out or anything like that. I genuinely am interested. I have heard a lot of rhetoric from people about Donald Trump and the concerns that they have about the next 4 years. And, you know, people use words like fascist, dictatorial, etc. What do you fear over the next 4 years he is going to do that makes you say in the present moment that he's dictatorial, fascist? What is he going to do you think?
Yeah. So, again, I don't know that he's going to do it because there's countervailing forces.
What do you fear?
And I think the countervailing forces are super interesting, and we should talk about that. Yeah. And I'm really interested to see which way the right wing goes in this country under Trump. But the worst case scenario is he gets frazzled and feels challenged, and he falls back on what he always does, which is just protect his ego. And so he starts pilfering, and that's very much in his nature. Grab, take, because now there's no accountability. What are you going to do? Impeach him? What are you going to do? Arrest him? No accountability. There's no brakes in the car. So we're all at his mercy.
Sorry to interrupt, but this is important for clarity. What do you mean by pilfering? He's going to be pilfering and pilfering.
Okay, so easy examples, but there's a million of these. He puts Jared Kushner in charge of the Middle East last time around, and Saudi Arabia. Jared Kushner at some point goes to Saudi Arabia, talks to Mohammed bin Salman, and right afterwards, Mohammed bin Salman arrests a whole bunch of people. Okay, I don't want to get into too much into what happened in that meeting and what the results were, but whatever it was, Mohammed bin Salman was super pleased because right after the election, he gives Jared Kushner $2 billion to manage. But he gets 2 and 20 on that. So if you know private equity and how that works, what that means is he's going to make hundreds of millions of dollars. So if Hunter Biden got a $2 billion deal from the Saudis after Joe Biden left office, I was like, Hunter Biden's not a Ukrainian gas expert. That's nuts. Okay, and that was $5 million.
So your fear number one is that his family will benefit financially from his president and him.
Everyone knows how corrupt Trump and his associates are. For example, at least 11 people close to Trump have been charged or convicted of crimes. Some of the charges include tax fraud, bank fraud, and campaign finance violations. Jared Kushner did receive a $2 billion investment from the Saudi Crown Prince. However, none of this matters because Democrats are equally guilty of the corruption. For example, 97 members of Congress traded stocks in companies that are impacted by their committee assignments from 2019 to 2021. Democrats in Congress secured 31% in gains on their stocks compared to just 18% for the Republicans. Nancy Pelosi has made a boatload of money on the stock market because she knows what will happen next. Some other notable Democrats that love to buy and sell stock while having insider information include Ro Khanna and Brian Higgins. Hunter Biden did receive over $1 million from China and $6 million from Ukraine. The point I'm trying to make is that both sides are corrupt. It's not only Trump. We need to take a look in the mirror when we start to blame these people and make sure we're staying principled.
Financially.
And his donors, most of all his donors.
What else?
Okay, so that's, but to be fair to Trump, like part of the reason the establishment hates him is because he's systemically and personally corrupt, whereas they're just largely systemically corrupt.
I'm accepting all this for the sake of argument without challenging, because I just want you to get to like the real fascism that he's going to do that you worry
So the reason I'm saying that is because since most of the politicians are systemically corrupt anyway, that's not the fascism.
That's my point.
Yeah.
So where's the fascism?
So he says, I'm going to deport all the undocumented immigrants. So some people might say, yeah, good. Rip them out of their homes, 13, 15 million people, whatever it is. Oh, they're running a diner. They're beloved in their neighborhood. They married an American citizen. Whatever they did, I don't care. And, their kids are American citizens. Rip them away from their babies and send them the goddamn back home. Now, that's a debatable point as to whether that's fascism. My guess is that if he starts doing it, and you start seeing people ripped out of their homes, that people are going to go, oh, that don't look good.
I don't think he's going to do that.
Yeah. Well, okay, we're going to find out. He might not. We're going to find out.
But if
okay?
he was to, let's say, I think the more likely scenario, I don't know if you agree with Cenk, but I think it's possible that this is the more likely scenario, is he deports all the people who've committed a crime in this country, who are illegal immigrants, right? People not only came here illegally, but have committed a crime, and people who don't have American family and don't have dependents here. Let's say he was to deport all those people. Would that be fascism in your view?
I don't even know if he deported all the undocumented immigrants, it would be fascism. I'm not even stipulating to that.
So let's get to the fascism, though, because this is what I want to get to, right?
And by the way, people who committed crimes should obviously be deported.
Right.
No one disagrees with that. So then the thing that I'm concerned about is both him and the potential attorney general saying, if you're on a campus and you're protesting Trump, you're protesting Israel, you're protesting the oil companies, you're protesting something we don't like, arrest and deport you. Wait, what happened to cancel culture? I mean, arresting someone for protesting or voicing their speech is the most both cancel culture you could do. I mean, you're taking the guy's freedom away, right?
Yeah, agreed. But
deporting people that are American citizens, what the hell are you talking about?
Yeah, you can't do that. But did he do any of that in his first term?
So he didn't do that. Okay. But so, and that's why I say, guys, when he's running, he threatens to do total, complete shutdown of Muslims. Yeah. He threatens to arrest and deport people, etc. But he didn't necessarily do it. So, for example, they said, lock her up. And then he got into office and he said, no, I'm not locking Hillary Clinton up. So I have an open mind. But when he threatens those type of things, I go, I am deeply, deeply concerned. Now, here's other things.
Okay.
So they had a 3-hour meeting after he lost the election, where Michael Flynn and I believe Sidney Powell, don't quote me on that, I don't want to get sued, okay, but definitely Michael Flynn said, let's use martial law. Let's roll out the tanks, okay? And we won this election, and we're going to correct the fraud, and let's go grab the actual ballot machines, okay? And Trump was like, okay, now I'm listening. Now we're having a conversation. And that's why it lasted 3 hours.
So
at the end, hold on.
No, hold on. You're talking about something that already happened. I'm asking you about the future. Let's just stick with that.
No, but that's totally relevant.
No, well, I'm sure, which is why I'm asking you the question to follow up. So do you fear that at the end of this 4-year period, he's not going to relinquish power?
There's this crazy thing happening where Trump supporters defend Trump's own words by asking if Trump did it during his first term. I don't understand this logic because you're basically admitting you either don't like what he's saying or don't believe he'll do the things he said he'll do. Either way, it doesn't make sense. You are just twisting yourself into a pretzel trying to defend Trump's rhetoric.
So since he didn't relinquish power last time, yes.
Well, ultimately he did, but you fear...
come on, guys.
Fine, let's accept that for the sake of argument again. So you fear that at the end of this 4-year period, when he can no longer run for election again, you fear that he will not hand over the presidency.
A guy who said, let's terminate the Constitution, consider martial law, and had a fake elector plot to steal an election, might he try to stay in power? Of course, he tried to do it once.
Well, that's good. So so you fear that at the end of this 4-year period, he will not vacate the White House.
That is one of my concerns, absolutely, and that alone is a deal breaker.
Well, it'd be a deal breaker for anyone, left and right, no question.
Except it wasn't, because he already tried to do it, and the right was like, no big deal, no big deal.
I don't think that's...
It was a giant deal.
Yeah, I don't think that's quite true, but anyway.
Some of the things Trump did to try and stay in power include spreading false claims of election fraud, legal challenges, pressuring state officials, alternate slates of electors, pressuring Vice President Pence, January 6th using the Justice Department, and proposing military intervention. If you like this type of content, please like, subscribe, or consider becoming a channel member. Thank you.